What if the flowers blooming at your feet right now were once believed to be keys to another world? For centuries, long before Latin names and textbooks, the people of this earth looked at the first flowers of spring and saw something far more mysterious. Warnings and wishes, portals and prophecies, the fingertips of fairies. Today we're exploring the folklore of four of Britain's most beloved spring flowers: the primrose, the wood anemone, the violet and the bluebell. Each one carries a story older than any book. Primula vulgaris, the primrose. Even its name is an act of poetry. It simply means first rose. Every February it appears under hedgerows and wooded banks, glowing that particular shade of buttery yellow while everything else is still mud and cold and bare. In Celtic and English folklore, the primrose was a key, quite literally. A cluster of blooms was said to unlock a hidden entrance into the fairy kingdom. Spot a great patch growing wild in the woods? A portal might be very close. Fairies danced among primroses at night, and if you rubbed primrose petals on your eyelids, you might just be able to see them. But there was a warning: you did not pick them without permission. To do so was to invite bad luck. The fairies took their flowers very seriously. By the medieval period, primroses had taken on a more intimate power. One old grimoire suggests gathering the flowers while facing east, drying them in the shade, grinding them to powder, and mixing them with, and I promise I'm not making this up, the blood of a sparrow. This was for a love potion, of course. Please don't go and try this today. The wood anemone doesn't grow just anywhere. It's an indicator of ancient woodland. Find it and you know the ground beneath your feet has likely been forested for centuries. It spreads not by seed but by creeping underground rhizomes at a rate of just 1 to 2 metres per century. A colony you walk through today may have taken thousands of years to form. The name comes from the Greek, anemos, meaning wind. In one myth, Anemone was a nymph beloved by Zephyr, the west wind, the one that signals the end of winter. When his wife discovered the affair, she turned Anemone into a flower. She blooms now, forever, at the bidding of the wind that loved her. In another version, these white flowers grew from the tears of Aphrodite as she wept over the death of Adonis. Every petal, a tear made visible. Watch one in a breeze and you can almost believe it. 6 pure white petals trembling, closing at the first drop of rain and wind, as if retreating into something private. The violet is a flower of contradictions. Heart-shaped leaves, delicate 5-petaled blooms, and yet it has been bound with grief, the underworld, and death. It was the favourite flower of Persephone, the very flower she was gathering when Hades took her. In folk tradition, a lone violet is a bad omen. They grow in abundance, or something is wrong. And yet, Napoleon wore violets at his wedding and covered his wife's graves with them when she died. His soldiers used the flowers as a secret password. If you were asked, "Do you like violets?" and you answered, "Ay bien," you were loyal to his cause. When Apollo pursued one of Diana's nymphs, Diana turned her into a violet to protect her, to hide her in plain sight. And in one Christian tale, violets were white until the crucifixion, turning purple in solidarity with Mary's grief, bowing their heads in the shadow of the cross. A flower of mourning, yes, but also protection, of loyalty, of love that doesn't announce itself loudly. finally, the bluebell, Britain's favourite flower. Nearly half of the world's bluebells grow here in the UK. What feels like an ordinary sight to us, globally, is something quite rare. In folklore, they were known as dead man's bells and fairy thimbles. Fairies rang them to summon their kin, and if a human heard the bell, it could be fatal. Pick one, and you might call something to you that you really didn't want to meet. The fairy could lead you deeper into the woodland until you never found your way out. The bluebell's old botanical name was Anemone, after the shepherd that was cast into eternal sleep by the moon goddess Selene, who loved him too much to let him age. So bluebells became flowers of everlasting love, of constancy. Hang them above your bed to keep away nightmares. Weave them into a wreath and place it on someone's head, and they would be compelled to tell the truth. The Tudors, ever practical, crushed bluebell roots to extract the starch for stiffening their rough collars. The same flower that fairies rang like a bell that promised eternal love, also keeping aristocratic neckwear in line. 4 flowers, 4 worlds of story, running just beneath the surface of the world we walk through every day. The people who told these stories were paying close attention to the way primroses hug the ground against the frost, to the way anemones close in the rain, to the way bluebells fill ancient forests with a colour that has no name except their own. From that attention, they made meaning. They made magic. So next time you pass one of these flowers, pause. Look at it properly. You are not the first to wonder, and you won't be the last. There might even be a fairy watching. If you enjoyed this video, do subscribe and let me know in the comments which of these 4 is your favourite.